Mitch. Uh, Feels a bit foreign doing this again. It's been a while, mate.
Yeah, it has been a while, mate. It's good to be back, though.
Yeah, it is, mate. I think the time's right, you know. It's like I haven't been, and you've been the same. I think focused on putting out too much content in the recent past. Obviously, during the scamdemic, we were going full throttle, but yeah, it's been good to sort of peel back and sort of freshen up for this time, I guess. But yeah, I don't know about you. I've sort of felt or heard the calling. Yeah, I think the time's right.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed that with a lot of people coming back out of the shadows and really ramping up at a time that is an awakening time of humanity more than ever, I think. Um, and it definitely feels the time is right for us to come back. But I feel like I'm better than ever. I've worked on myself more in the last couple of years than I ever have. A lot of change in my life, and yeah, I'm feeling refreshed and ready to help humanity in every way I can.
Yeah, you mentioned changes in your life there. For those of you who used to listen to us back at them times when we were doing the podcast, Mitch and I were living in the same area at that point, but Mitch has moved up the coast and yeah, so how's life up there treating you, mate?
Ah, it's unbelievable from a change from living in the mountains and to the coast is unreal. But it was a change that was needed for myself, um, and it's brought about a clarity and perspective that I've never had before, and it's just great to have change sometimes in your life and move forward and progress, progress and become a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, ultimately what life is about, isn't it? Evolving and challenging yourself and putting yourself in new situations and stuff. So, kudos to you, mate. And looks like you've yeah, taken your fitness pretty seriously at the moment. I've seen you've been doing the mountain runs and that.
Yeah, it's very good for your mental health. It has been for me as well, and just constantly trying to get fitter and as we all should be, and eating healthier and just doing everything I can to cleanse my body um, and try different avenues. But yeah, it's been great, mate. And I'm sure it has been for you as well, and working on yourself more in the last couple of years because COVID, them times it drained a lot of people, and it the battles that we fought during that time, yeah, were very draining, and it's good to have a break sometimes for everyone, and you can come back better, stronger, and more aligned to with your higher self to better humanity, like I said before.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Um, yeah, look, we won't go too much more into that, but 'cause there's so much going on. But like we said, yeah, it's good to be back, and um, but yeah, it's obviously good to have that time to freshen up and yeah, get ourselves right for this time because what a start to the year it's been. I can't believe from just here in Australia, obviously we had the Bondi attacks and with different things that are getting passed through legislation like hate speech laws and um, the talk digital ID and different things, and then got these release of the Epstein files. Finally, it's been what 6 years since the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein. So yeah, just it's all happening, you know. And then on top of that, you obviously got what's going on in the Middle East and the atrocities that are happening over there, and yeah, it's crazy. It's on you know, fast forward at the moment. It's just really ramping up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's crazy how much has already happened this year. What have you made of it all?
Yeah, it really has snowballed and continued to get bigger, that snowball, ever since after COVID and all that. But yeah, it really is ramping up now. It, like you said about the Bondi attack, um, as most of us know, definitely a false flag to bring in these new hate speech laws. Um, and everyone has to stand up and talk about this more. We didn't even get a time to, because they rushed it through so quickly, but it's affects our freedom of speech, and it's so wrong on so many different levels. But yeah, it just brings more division, um, and between religions, especially at the moment, and that's what they're trying to do, and that's what they've done in the past with a lot of wars. Bring religion into it, bring more division. Um, yeah, it's crazy how much has happened in just the last 3 months. Um, yeah, it's got to be a big question for a lot of people. Like, and they got to wake up. But some people are still not looking at certain things. But it is awakening a lot of people in the world more than I thought in COVID times, which is a good thing. It is way better than say when we first started our awakening process back in 2010, was it? And a lot different back then. So it's we got to be grateful for these awakenings that are happening, and use it to our advantage to help the people that are just awakening, because it must be a rough road for some of these people that are hearing about some of these demonic things that are happening around the world. Um, but like I said, yeah, we've got to guide them and help them, because it's a bombardment of information for some people. And it's just like how much Instagram's changed since COVID times. Like, there's no censorship, seems like, whatsoever. Like, obviously there is some, but compared to back then, like, it's good to see that so much information's getting out, but then there can be the wrong information getting out, and the wrong theories, and just it can be too much for some people. So yeah, we've got to be careful.
Yeah, especially with the um, introduction of AI now.
Exactly right.
You know,
Yeah.
there's so many videos out there that are fake, and
Yeah.
it's hard to decipher what's real and what's not. You know, especially
Yeah.
for some people. So
And
yeah,
that's why they
exactly
bring it
right.
in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like exactly right about the censorship. Like it's really tamed down. You know, like on not only on Instagram but on YouTube. Uh, excuse me. So yeah, you got to ask yourself why that is, and I think it's for them exact reasons because they got number one. I've always said like that there's going to come a point where this information becomes available that you can't stop the truth from coming out. It's just it's been this so many people are waking up and um, there's so much out there, information out there now. Like you couldn't um, hide it no longer. It just it was inevitable. But you know, so but knowing that was going to happen, that's why in my opinion, they've introduced AI. At that point,
Mm.
So then they can just scramble the internet with a lot of fake videos, and you don't know what's real and what's not. And
Yeah,
um, yeah, so
exactly right.
and at the same time, like um, you got, like you were saying, just an absolute bombardment of information. Like, so for you people that are just sort of switching on now, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to decipher what's real and what's not. So in my opinion, you got to, I don't know, align yourself with your local conspiracy theorists, as they say. Someone that you can trust a little bit, and um, you know, but yeah, crazy times. But another thing I wanted to touch on too was i- with all this satanic shit coming out, um, people are starting to understand the level of evil that these, so-called elites operate out of. Um, and for a lot, it is very heavy for them, to go through. And I think a lot of people that started to wake up through COVID, um, never really wanted, I'm not speaking for everyone, obviously, but majority I felt didn't want to touch these subjects, didn't want to talk about the pedophiles, didn't want to talk about Satanism. For instance, I can remember when Smoking Joe, Joe McHale would speak at these freedom rallies and that, and he would always bring up these, the pedophiles and shit like that. And like he wouldn't get a lot of interest from people. You could get, like, I can remember hearing people in the crowd saying comments like, "Oh, I don't really talk about this sort of stuff." And, or like it was almost like, yeah, people just didn't want to go there, or they didn't want to believe it. But
Yeah,
now it's sort of after the release of these files, it's it's all out there, like, and people are, a lot of them people that have been awake now for 4 or 5 years are still on that, as we all are. We're still, going through. We're never ever going to be fully awake. No one will be, but um, to a lot of them people, they're still just waking up to these sorts of levels of the satanic side of things, and yeah, it's a lot to go through. So,
yeah. But
um,
that's why they're putting it all on the table and seeing how the people will react. But you can't shy away from it anymore, like you said. But some people in the past have just spoken out about the things that they want to speak out about. For instance, like, you know, climate change, people on the so-called left or whatever. That's just one thing that they want to push, and that's fair enough. But when all this stuff comes out, you got to actually have a look at it and talk about it, and can't shy away from it and stick up for the animals or something and not stick up for the humans. And it's just we all got to face this head on, because that's the way that they're um putting this all onto us. It's just a head on battle. Everything's getting thrown at us now, and I feel like it's a sort of a panic for them. I feel like something's shifted this year more than
mm,
ever, because they're trying to speed up their agenda 100 times, because the way that they're reacting is is different than before, I feel. And there's we're winning battles. I, I can feel that, spiritual battles, and all this stuff is coming out, because I feel like there is a tipping point, and we just got to ride that wave and keep on getting momentum and keep on getting out in public more, myself included. I need to get out and talk to people in public. Just start off small, or just give them little bits of information for them to work on themselves with,
mm,
and find out these things for themselves, because we all have to do this as a whole, and take on the mission that we've been given.
That's it, bro. It was just inevitable. I mean, we're in the Great Awakening, apocalypse. The true meaning of that word means the unveiling, So
Yeah,
it's always going to get to a point where this unveiling happened, and you know, here we are. Like it started through COVID, that was an unveiling.
yeah,
We've had so many unveilings now. It's insane. It's all out there for people to see. It's whether you choose to see it or not, because they're only feeding it through the mainstream. Um, like we're seeing people that were named in the Epstein files, like Prince Andrew, Hillary Clinton, and these sorts of people, and that's who they're focusing on in the mainstream media.
mm,
They're not giving you a whole wider picture of it all and how deep it actually goes, and some of the
yeah,
things that were, so to most people, that's still a conspiracy theory, that they're like cannibals and these sorts of things, and the stuff coming out about Ellen DeGeneres and shit like that. Like,
yeah,
so it is interesting to see how it is, and anyone of these people that are asked about it, Bill Gates and Hillary Clinton and people like this, asked about their involvement on Epstein Island and stuff like that, and like they just deflected straight away. I had no, I didn't even barely know him and stuff like this, and it's just ridiculous. Like I
yeah,
think she had her first hearing or whatever, and yeah, she's just playing that card. Like
mm,
she had no idea who he was, and like,
yeah.
what an absolute joke! Like this is like how
But
are they getting away with this? And like, but like, how aren't people seeing the truth for this? I'm sure a lot of people are, but
mm,
man, if you're not, wow, you're deep under that spell, aren't you?
yeah, exactly right. But we know how much the justice system can be slow, and you do need a lot of evidence. And you think someone would have been, some more people would have been arrested by now. But if that still doesn't happen a year down the track, then we'll be really um, have to get angry about it, because even people that still is on the Trump train, which I hope that he is a good guy and he's doing good things, but um, I don't see that as the case. I think that he's just playing the game that he's meant to be playing, and creates so much division, like I've said before in other podcasts. But each to their own that think he's a savior and a good person,
Yeah,
which
look, we might get into that a little bit later, but it is, yeah, like
yeah,
I see a lot of people in the truther community either, side one way or the other, and I think majority obviously think he's a bit of a, well, he is, a Zionist puppet,
yeah,
but then there's another side that think he's a part of this, other faction that's fighting against the cabal, or,
mm,
and
yeah.
I
Which
don't know,
I
yeah,
think there is that, but I don't. I think he could be just playing the card that he, you know, to make people think that he is a part of the White Hats or a part of Q and all that movement in the past. But
yeah.
yeah, like you said, they got
Like I
to
said,
put,
we'll talk about a little bit more about that later.
yeah,
Don't want to get too deep into that, but yeah, we will touch on it later at the end. But just staying with what I was talking about with the release of these files. Um, so another thing that has come out um, too is the fact that the departments in Australia, your big four banks, Centrelink, um, uh, I can't think of any the ones off the top of my head, but they were all involved with money laundering um, and stuff like so. They're also in the Epstein files, and so like it goes so deep, And then you got the fact that um,
mm,
Gates and Jeffrey Epstein were colluding about the pandemic. That's in there as well.
Yeah, but
So like, there's so many like, I know the big thing to come out of this is obviously the satanic nature and the fact that these people are doing the most horrific crimes and they're cannibals and this and that, and you know that is horrific, absolutely, and needs to be
mm,
spoken about. I've always said that is the topic that needs to be tackled, and I'm so glad it is finally getting the attention that it deserves.
yeah,
But yeah, it goes deeper. There's so much in this, within these files to come out. It shows you how deep the corruption goes and how many people are involved, um, and at different levels. Like so many people may be not involved with this cult, but they're corrupted and they know about it and they can't do anything about it because they've got a video lingering over their head, or they've corrupted them in some way. Like so,
mm,
um,
yeah.
they
But
don't want to speak out.
everyone, yeah,
They keep
everyone
going
that's
back.
not list, if you are listed in the files, doesn't mean that you're bad. Like Trump's listed in there a lot, but there's nothing that is
Oh
pointing
yeah,
out that it's
yeah,
bad, obviously. So, and then like someone like Alex Jones is in the files, and there's obviously he was talking about people, and that's why they're in the files, and um, whether they're controlled opposition and or just a part of the evil. But yeah, they got to put all this in evil in plain sight, and that's part of Satanism. And they
mm.
know with the karmic laws and that they put it all out on the table in movies, and now they're just putting all this information out. Um, they know that's how they do it a lot of the time. Um,
Yeah. And then this really started to come to light around 2015. When uh, you had Fiona Barnett coming out with her story out here. She was a satanic ritual abuse survivor. And then not long after that, you had the Pizzagate story drop, and that's also in the Epstein files as well. Um, so a lot of this sort of started to come to light around then, and then it's ever since then, especially during the COVID times, they've really pushed it. Pushed the satanic stuff within the music, within movies, within everything. Um,
yeah,
to the point where people were coming out and trying to um, get pedophilia seen as a sexual preference. They had this term MAPS, the minor attracted people.
yeah,
Like so, they're almost trying to make this acceptable. They're trying to desensitize the public to it all, um, and yeah, like I said, make it acceptable, and it's just
yeah,
yeah, it gotten to that point where we know the levels that it goes, like how deep this all is, and how deep the evil runs, and so like yeah, I'm sure if you're just finding out about this for the first time, it must be absolutely horrific. Obviously we went through this quite a while ago, but we knew how tough it was then, like to find out some of the absolutely sick shit these people get up to. It's mind-boggling. But
yeah.
yeah,
It is, and it does make you angry, especially watching a lot of information that's coming out at the moment and videos talking about it, and you can really get consumed in anger and negative emotions, but myself included. But we all just have to take a step back and um, realize that's feeding the beast and feeding the beast matrix by portraying all this negative energy. And that's what they want, these elites. They want so much negative energy in the world. And that's what you see at the moment with the wars and the tension. Um, but we got to be really grounded in ourselves and remember that we are in a dualistic reality of good and evil, that we always have to be mindful of our thoughts and not be in this negative emotions because yeah, it's really not good for your health. I know everyone is really angry about what's going on and really angry at people that aren't seeing this or aren't even looking into it. But we just really got to stay positive and not get into a doom and gloom mindset because like I said, that's what they want and that's what they feed off. And you always got to be working on your shadow self and be a better person and be that light of faith and hope for everyone around you.
Yeah, because it's easy to spiral. Like, once you first come across this sort of information, it's easy to go down that dark spiral.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's one thing to to see all this and and shed light on it. It's important that we
Mm.
are exposing this and that. But then, yeah, like you said, you got to stay grounded and yeah, like not go down that spiral I'm talking about
Yeah.
because
And you
it's
got to,
quite easily.
yeah, it is when we all can get into that mindset. Sometimes it's hard, but we just really got to relay this information across to people in the right way. And yeah,
100%. So another thing I think we mentioned earlier was the hate speech laws. Yeah, this is just incredible. Like, obviously it doesn't surprise me, but this is the reality we're living with now. So yeah, like I heard of, I'm sure a lot of you guys would have heard about this. I think there was a fella that was speaking during an Australia Day event. Um,
the March for Australia. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah. Anyway, this man has said something he should. Yeah. So anyway, this guy has got a year in jail, I think, for this.
Yeah.
At the same time, um, there was a bloke that was a convicted pedophile, and I think he got 3 months.
Yeah, something like that, maybe six or a year himself. Like, but it's just an absolute joke that
Yeah,
far
like,
out. What the
this is the
fuck?
world we live in, though.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's hard not to get angry about these things, but some people don't even know about it. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
yeah, and this has been in play over in the UK for a while now. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how many people become affected by this. And like I think you even mentioned to me earlier off air about you can't even do the Nazi salute.
mm,
Um, you can't even say phrases like from the river to the sea.
yeah.
Like this is extreme. Like I mean, if you think we live in a free society with freedom of speech, well, I'm sorry, you're
Mm,
completely mistaken.
yeah. And we're getting turned into China more and more each day. You know, that's the dystopian nightmare that we're gonna find ourselves in eventually. And that's why I think the 2030 agenda is the AI will complete that with the rollout of 6G. If you think about, we know how much 5G and all the other communication systems changed the world um, and brought about massive change, like COVID times we know. Um, but how they say with 6G, I'll just say this: it's going to be a merged digital and physical world connecting people, machines, vehicles, and cities in real time. And it'll be, 100 times faster than 5G. And it does not rely on one layer of infrastructure. Instead, it seamlessly connects satellite, aerial, and terrestrial. That's all the aerials on the ground and infrastructure. Um, Network to deliver coverage anywhere on Earth, like the satellites that Elon's already got in the sky with his internet. But that's what they're pushing us all to, and that's why they're pushing this war and religions against each other to bring about their one world government. And it's coming faster than we
Yeah.
realize, eh?
Oh, definitely. I don't know if we'll ever get there. That's another probably time. Like, we could talk about that on another podcast. But um, whether this will play out or how it's going to go, whether it's going to be like a splitting of societies or um, yeah. Well, anyway, we'll dive more into that on another app. But yeah, it's just crazy to think. This like that's where it's all headed. Like it's uh, you and China is like you said, it's always been the test bed nation for all this rollout and um, level of fucking tyranny that they're under. Like, and then that's what they want the rest of the world. Whether they get there or not, yeah, not too sure of how that's all going to play out, but it's it's not far from now. I mean, like, yeah, like you said, 2030 agenda. This is what are we in 2026 this year? I mean,
Hmm.
the time has just absolutely flown by since 2020. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's incredible. The last 6 years it felt like, half of that, like 3 years. It's just amazing how quickly time is going. But yeah, I guess it's just got a lot to do with being in the Great Awakening, with living through all this stuff, all these unveilings. Like it's just sped up time, I think.
Mm.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, Mitch. That's for sure, mate. One
Yeah.
thing I just wanted to add to that, you know, with the whole hate speech and digital ID, and like I think Australians are just completely oblivious to this. Like we are one country that could quite easily fall into this trap because as we've said for so long, we're the apathetic country, old Apathralia,
Mm.
um, and we're just so tied up with everyone's personal lives. They've got so many things going on, whether it be family dramas and or they've got debt lingering over their heads. Everyone's a bloody debt slave. We know what that's like. Um, so like they're just they can't think of these realities and that because they're just so consumed by their own day-to-day life. And yeah, boy, are they in for a shock.
Yeah. Exactly
Yeah.
right, Josh. And then it's the same with religion, with all these saviors that people think that they're coming for them, or they're going to go through Jesus to get to heaven, or go through all these other gods in religion. Um, but we got to do the work ourselves and prove ourselves, um, because it's all a test at the end of the day. And we've put ourselves in this test and this matrix to evolve ourselves and experience all these experiences. Um, but yeah, it's sad to see when people are cheering this on, these hate speech laws, um, because there are a lot of people that are and are loving it, and But even I
Yeah.
heard someone at a protest get asked about it, and he was saying, "Oh, yeah, even someone that blasphemes God should be thrown in jail for 5 years." It's ridiculous. Like, and but these ideologies are across the board in every religion, and are distracting everyone from actually coming together for the betterment of humanity, and you know, ultimately the things that each of us have in our lives, well, not all the people, but most people have love in their life, and that's what they've got to focus on: love and the things that we all can relate to, and not these external figures that just distract us and make us divide each other. And
Give your power away.
that'll bring about the holy war, and you can already see it playing out. It's radical on all sides.
Absolutely, yeah. You couldn't have said that any better. Like, and religion's always been a trap. Like, that's how they've
Yeah,
contained, you know, people from
and,
realizing what they truly are, true spirituality,
yeah, and they put a lot of good things in
itself.
religion. Don't get me wrong. Like
Oh,
there's
absolutely. There's
there's
truth
great
within it
things.
all.
Yeah, but even the deception about hell, and so many people believe that a lot of their loved ones are going to go to hell if they don't believe in God or go through Jesus for forgiveness, or the all these other religions, like they are very similar, like we know. And yeah,
But it's all fear-based still, like
exactly
people
right.
are in
Yeah,
fear, they don't want to go to hell.
yeah,
Um, you know, it's all about giving your power away. uh, Where that ultimately it's the same trap too. Like, um, people that yeah, give their power away to Christ or give their power away to Allah or whoever it is,
mm,
like that's the same trap. You may as well be worshiping Satan. Like, as soon as you give
exactly
your
right.
power away to an external source, you're lost in my eyes. And that's the biggest deception within religion.
Yeah,
The power's within. It always has been within. But Christ said that. He said the kingdom of heaven is within. He said the power is within.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and
Within
that
the
message
mind,
has
yeah,
been lost.
yeah,
That
exactly
message
right.
has been taken away. And yeah, there are so many truths within the Bible and different other texts, but uh, yeah, they've really created religion to be a control mechanism. Divide and conquer. It's the number one mechanism they used, and it's no different here. Um, but yeah, there's no doubt that they're really pushing this though, because so many people that aren't even of faith, that aren't awake. Typical Australians, I see that they're just blaming Muslims for the Bondi terror attack, and they blame them for all the other terrorist attacks, and because they believe how the media has painted it,
Yeah,
and this is just playing right into the hands. At the same time, you got awake people fucking calling for the heads of Jews, and it's a touchy subject, especially at the moment. You got to watch what you say.
yeah.
But I mean, um,
There's
you're
evil
just playing
people
into that
everywhere.
divide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's good Jews out there. Like, yeah, they
Yeah.
might be deceived, as I'm
Mm,
sure most people are. Christians are deceived,
yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah,
it's yeah, it's all about the divide. They're all pushing for this holy war. Playing the religions off against one another.
yeah,
Yeah, you got to be better than that. Like, I know most people listening to this are, but yeah, at the same time, I do see a lot of people in the awake community that are still very embedded in religion.
yeah. And that, like I said, that's okay. You can take, I still take things out of all the religions that I think that are good, and that's what they do with these deceptions. They but they put a lot of constructs in there and change a lot of things.
Dogma.
For the
Yeah.
yeah dogmas, and obviously these aren't the original texts. Like that's what people have got to realize, and King James changed it all, and he's a king, like and he wrote demonology. Like it's ridiculous, like how people don't even know these sorts of things, or just think like that's the true word of God, like because it's not. And like you
And
said, God
that's the
God is
Bible.
within us. It's all around us. It is light. It is what we're all made of. The glue that holds everything together. Like, as they say in Christianity, the Holy Spirit, like, is all it's everything, and that's what they've made these figures on purpose to, yeah, create dogmas, like you said.
You make us forget that.
Yeah.
Make us forget that we are the true power, and it is all around us.
Mm.
Um, yeah, 100%. There was something I was going to add there. I've gone blank though. So I think we'll move on from that. I think we covered that pretty well. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to touch on was what we were talking about before with you know, on a deeper level, who's really in control here? Like, is what's going on a disclosure operation? Is
Yeah.
there another faction at play out there? These so-called white hats, people that Trump and stuff are aligned with. Is these the people in control, and is this a disclosure operation? Um, and to just back that theory up, um, they use the term like 5D chess and stuff. So like you can't take everything that these political people, especially Trump, what he's saying as legit.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it could be coded. He's using all that reverse psychology type speech.
Oh, definitely.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so just because he said one thing, or just because there's different things, allegations come out about him in the Epstein files, it doesn't mean uh, they're legit. And I'm not saying this. You know, to be honest, I sit on the fence when it comes to all this. I'm not too sure
Yeah.
um, where to side with. But there are some interesting claims um, by different people within the truth community, and it does get you thinking because most of the people, David Icke, Max Egans, most of the people in the truth community um, think he's a Zionist dude. He's just a puppet playing his part. You
Yeah.
know,
But then
what's
there
the
are
old
a
saying?
lot that
If,
think he's
if they need
doing
a
good.
savior,
Yeah. Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just say, yeah, like I don't know where to sit on it all, but um, both sides make interesting arguments. Like I find myself siding more with one side, and then something else will happen, and or someone else will bring something else to my attention, and it'll make me then swayed with the other side. So it is interesting. But is it meant to get you to do that on purpose? Like, I don't know.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's hard to use your discernment at the moment because there's so many different levels and stuff happening that makes you sway either way. But like I said before, I hope Trump is a good guy and we have someone on our side like that. But it's we've seen in history that they're always got to have um, someone on the other side to betray a different message and um, to create these wars and havoc and division. But yeah, it's tough, Josh. But it's um, yeah, it's a lot of a waiting game at the moment, and just try and awaken as many people as you can. And um, yeah,
Yeah, because I think like it doesn't really matter either way. I think, for us, the outcome's the same. We've still got to stand up.
yeah,
Um, and like we were talking about before, you don't want to give your power away to these external figures. Um, so why would you give your power away and hope and trust in to these group? And yeah, if they are doing what they're doing, that's great. But still, like, we're still got to stand up. We're still got to take our power back and move forward as a human race. It's about time we you know stop being governed. It's time to go back to the old world where we were self-governed um, and lived out a natural law. It was all about do no harm, and most people abided by that. And if you didn't, you were dealt with.
mm,
So, but
yeah,
yeah, like, I think the ultimate message I'm just saying there is, don't. It would be great if there is a group of people out there that are doing good things, but that's you don't want to side with them. That's we don't know what their end goal is to, and what they could even like they may be benevolent, but they still could have agendas at play. So it's like you don't want to be giving your power away to them.
yeah, exactly. And just keep on working on yourself, and um, learn things that can help us if something does go down. Be prepared, and yeah, we have everything we need on this earth to be able to flourish, and that's what people have got to realize. Like but they're just so embedded in these systems and being a debt slave, and it's hard because that's all a lot of people have known. But um, I see a world completely different. It could, which should be what is happening now, rather than the chaos and division that's happening at the moment. But if World War III does break out, or there is massive blackouts, or worst case scenarios, like um, it'd be very scary times. But I think if everyone binds together in them times, we could come out of it um, better in the long run. Just hopefully, you know, it doesn't get to that, and because I think there's a lot more behind the scenes going on that any of us realize, because a lot of people think they have all the information or know it all, and it's a bad place to be, because a lot of the time there's still so much to learn, and so much to unveil. You know,
Yeah,
the devil
absolutely.
is deveiling if you um decipher it. And a lot of these words are just cryptic, as we know. And yeah, but I have faith that it
Oh,
will
I
get
do too.
better. And it won't come to them scenarios.
Look, I hope not, but I still think, and it's going to get bad before it gets worse. Uh, uh, you know, sorry,
Yeah,
I don't think I
but
said that right. It's going to
it's
be,
gonna. Yeah, I know what you
yeah,
meant. Yeah,
it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I think that's what I was meant to say. But
yeah,
but we need that. I think
but
sometimes, well, all the time. I think you've seen the best of humanity in the crisis. We bind together, we get the job done, sort of thing. For instance, remember how could you forget the 2019 fires just before the fucking pandemic kicked off? We went through horrific bushfires here in New South Wales and other parts of the country. Um, just remember seeing the people bind together and the things they did. Like, so there's been other things, the flooding up north, and just the incredible things humans can do when they're in amongst the chaos, and they come together and figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
so, like, that's what gives me hope, and I think that's what
Uh,
it's got to come to, Mitch. Like, yeah, it's one thing shedding light on all the pedophilia and all the dark shit these cunts have been, excuse my language, these parasites have been up to. Um, but it's not going to get people motivated and all that. Like, one thing that will get people motivated is a crisis.
mm,
If they've got no option, like we've seen in COVID, like that brought a lot of people out of the woodworks. There was bloody nearly millions of people on the streets at one point. Like, some of them rallies were huge because they couldn't handle living under that oppression anymore. And that's what gives me hope. The human spirit will rise up at a point, but it's like, how bad is it going to get before that happens?
yeah. And I think it'll get the worst in the cities and the major population centers. Um, because just the more people we have together and the more looting and the more bad things would happen in them scenarios.
Yeah,
But yeah, we just got to look at history, and there's been so many bad wars, bad things. It's just hard to fathom how dark this world is. But then it can be such a loving world and full of love, and that's what we've got to remind ourselves of. And we can't just focus on the darkness and the doom and gloom, because it'll drive a lot of us to a place that we don't want to be.
yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, yeah. Like, if you look at the world at the moment, yeah, there's so many dark things happening. You got the Epstein files release. Um, you got
The,
these wars
yeah, the
happening.
genocide. Yeah, it's
Mass genocide. You got not only that, then you got all the problems that have always been there, like poverty and
exactly.
uh,
Yeah,
crimes and crime rates, and so many. Like, there's so much evil and destruction in the world that's happening. We've got all them things that we mentioned that are coming into play out here, like the hate speech laws. Why can't I fucking say that? And then, yeah, like, potential digital ID and all this stuff. So, like, it, it can be so dark, but at the same time, you can switch off from all that. Yeah, like, we're blessed where we are right now. Like, in some parts of the world, I know you can't because you're getting bombed. It's fucked. Like,
yeah,
the heart goes out to these people. But, like, for the most part, people here in Australia and different parts of the Western world, and you know, so many places around the world, it is okay. Like, you can just switch off from it and get on with your life. Get on with doing things that make you happy, spending time with your family, making memories, and doing things you love, and creating and still being, um, that person that you've always been. Living out of that love, and um, but yeah, like, it's up to you to have that, be able to just switch off from it. Like, yeah, good. It's still good to talk about it, bringing up conversations. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. We want you posting about it. We want you doing this, but don't let it consume you. You can switch
yeah,
off and then still go out and live your normal life, you know. So you get that balance right.
yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah,
Th this world is built on balance and dualistic reality, and we've got to keep ourselves level and balanced because, yeah, the vibrations we all put out and the frequencies are very important to shape this reality. And there are a lot of negative vibrations around at the moment, like I've said before, and we just got to keep being that light of positivity and be the best person we can be, each of us. Yeah,
Yeah. I think we could probably wrap it up there, Mitch. It's I don't know how long we've been going for, mate, but it's probably pretty
yeah,
long.
yeah. It's good to be
It's been
back, and
yeah,
we'll do them more often, and that's for sure. Um, yeah, it's great.
yeah, no, absolutely, and we'll try and make this a regular thing where me and Mitch are just having our weekly discussion or whatever it is. But then yeah, we'd like to start getting a few guests on as well and getting a few different voices in there and that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
plenty more to come.
yeah, I just like to say that so much appreciation for anyone else that does this sort of thing or even just posts about it. I hold so much love and respect for all of you because you are bringing so much unveiling and love to this world, and you are here for that reason because yeah, it's very needed at the moment, and we all just got to keep pushing forward. And yeah, I just like to say that I have a lot of appreciation for everyone who does these sorts of things because it's not easy, and I know that putting yourself out there, but um, we all have the courage to do it, and we all have to keep on having the courage to push forward and keep doing it because that's what humanity needs at the moment. We're in the fire horse year, so keep pushing hard, everyone. Keep riding that wave.
Well said, Mitch. Yeah, I don't think I really need to add anything to that. That's yeah, we'll sign off on that. But stay true to yourselves, guys, and we'll speak soon.